Hello everyone, thank you for watching Truth Talks TV. I am your host, Katarina Ilic, with my beautiful guest here, Inelia Benz, who is the founder of Ascension 101. And her purpose is her mission is to raise the vibration on the earth. Is that correct, Inelia? Can you tell us?
Absolutely.
First, let me thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. It's a pleasure to have this time to talk to you.
Yeah, it's lovely meeting you.
Yes. Yeah. So tell us then, what is it that you're doing actually? What is Ascension 101 and what is your work all about?
Yeah, basically, sometimes there can be a projection of savior energy here when you say this person is here to raise the vibrational level of the planet, right? But it's not like that at all, because the way that I see it is that the only way to do it is for all of us individually to really take empowerment, to become empowered. So we stop projecting somebody else to do it for us. And by raising our vibration is done in several ways. And part of my work is finding ways to do it, like really efficiently, quickly, mystery-free, and that anybody can do it. You don't have to be of any type of religion, follow any guru. It doesn't matter what religion or guru you have, or if you don't have one, it doesn't really matter. All these tools that I've been developing and also fine-tuning are basically to allow anybody to raise their own personal vibration, because it's not about a savior coming in and doing it for all of us. That's all paradigm, right? That was necessary before. The new one is each person rises it. If a million people rise their vibration today by a tiny little bit today, then that's a huge shift for the entire planet. Yeah. So that's how it's happening. And I think most people today, in their own vocabulary, in their own language, are actually saying the same thing. It's like, it doesn't matter what language they use, whether they channel angels, or they're doing Reiki, or they are an artist or a musician. If they're consciously doing their stuff, they're all saying the same thing now. The message is getting narrower and more unique, which is, it's up to you. Here's what I can offer you, but it's up to you to raise your own vibration, to take responsibility, to empower yourself. Yeah.
Yes.
So basically, I'm personally raising my own personal vibration, and that's how I'm raising the planet's. But the work for the planet is really to give the tools, information, and just be a voice. Like just an ordinary person that comes in. I've been living an ordinary life, and I still do, right? And I wear red dresses, and I drink cocktails, and do all the rest of the stuff.
Yeah.
Normal, regular women would do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm consciously aware of that responsibility, which is in my own life. Yeah. So if something, and the tools basically come in different directions. So for example, I have one that's called the fear processing exercise. And that basically allows the person to disentangle the energies, their life force or emotional energies that are bundled up in fears, to disentangle that just by looking and accepting. And that then gets dissolved, right? And reintegrated. They can then reintegrate their energy back into themselves.
Yes.
So we stop pushing fear away, or stop choosing to feel fear. Yeah. We've been programmed to feel fear about all sorts of things, and fear comes in from every direction right now. So we can just say, no, I'm not going to go there, right? I'm not going to play that game. So that would be one really good thing.
Right.
And then daily meditation, just spending time with yourself. That's how I see it, yeah? And just playing around and having a look and observing the space between thoughts, and just becoming aware of the entire planet, of Gaia, other people. So that's how we expand our awareness. We become more aware, more conscious of other things. And this month, this is May right now, 2013, and this month has been a lot of information about manifestation, yeah? And really tapping into that, or dissolving the program that we've been taught a lot about how limited we are, yeah, and how limited everything is, you know. So there's not enough money to go around. Of course there is. That's just energy exchange. There's as much energy as there are people on the planet, you know. And manifesting free energy, manifesting things for our lives. Because once we're living in a place where we're really satisfied with ourselves and our lives, then all of a sudden we start seeing, oh, how can I use my power? You know, how can I really make a difference on the planet? How can I empower others? Yeah,
right.
So manifestation for this month.
Yeah,
and then so things come in that way, and then for next month, June, a lot of information is coming in about healing and the change in perception about healing from the old paradigm to the new. So I'm really excited about June.
yeah, there's a lot. I'm feeling a lot of stuff going on right now. And one of the things that you just mentioned was something about fear, because I'm seeing a lot of my fears coming up myself to sort of be released. So how do you suggest that? Because you said it's like a choice, right? To whether we want to, you know, feed that fear, whether we want to like stay with that fear, or whether we just, you know, release it, I guess. But I mean, how does somebody really do that? I mean, is it important to still feel it, acknowledge it?
Yes, absolutely. Otherwise, if you push it away, it becomes stronger.
Yeah.
Right? Or if you try to invalidate it or go away, you know, that makes it stronger. Fear is something, it's an energy signature, right? It's like a bundle, a tone of energy. And it's inside our field. The best way to dissolve it would be to allow it to exist. Yeah. So fear, you're welcome here. Yeah. And then, all right, you know, just express yourself, and it expresses energetically through our body. And then you could try making it really, really big, so it's as big as the planet, you know, or even bigger. And often that's when it just, poops, you know, dissolves. And if it hasn't, because, you know, it's like some people have chronic fears. I mean, I used to have a fear of spiders, or my physical body did, right? My physical body was afraid of spiders.
Yeah.
So I would sit with my physical body and I would tell her, you know, I would allow her like baby steps every day, a little bit, you know, allow that fear, visualize the spider and allow that fear to start happening in the physical body. And I would allow it to be there. I would welcome it and everything. And then I would infuse it with light and love. But the next day they would still be there, but it would be less. And it did take me about 2-3 months to fully get rid of it, because it was one of those, what are those called? A phobia, yeah? She would see a spider and scream and run away, you know. And I speak about my physical body as separate from me, because I'd be going, stop, it's only a tiny little spider, you know. So,
right. You could see like this, yeah.
Yeah, so fears could be in our physical body. They triggered and they're expressed in our emotional bodies, and they could be mental fears as well. But more often, when you look at it as a soul being, there's nothing to be afraid, right? So the processes can be done, you know, with the different fields, different bodies, and also the choice, you know, it's like there is a moment of choice. Do I choose to be afraid of this person? Do I choose to be afraid of the situation? Do I choose to be afraid when looking at the future? Whether it's regards to your job, you know, financially, what the fears that are being propagated at the moment, whether it's to do with physical death and violence. A lot of fears are being created on the planet right now, so that, you know, laws are changed and we're all basically enslaved, so we have no rights, yeah? So that's all through fears, yeah? So do I want to subscribe to that fear right now? I don't think so.
Right, right. Yeah, it's those fears that are being imposed upon us from the outside. But then, like you said, there's some that are just, like for me, I just see some that come up that are just my own, you know, limitations that are just, I guess, rooted in there somewhere from past conditioning, programming and whatnot, and then just feeling it. But yeah, I feel like that it is important to just let it be. Like, okay, I feel this fear.
Exactly.
And then just kind of let it go. And then, so where are these, you actually posted an article just recently I saw on your Facebook page about limitations. And so how do we rise above them? Because there are so many, right? And it's just that old way. It's just that 3D egoic, right? It's seeing all these limitations when really we are so expansive and limitless,
Exactly.
but how do we like, shift, I guess, out of those limitations?
I think because it's so ingrained in us that we really have to take baby steps on it. So my suggestion would be to really start with one thing, yeah? One area of your life where you feel limited. How do you find that limit? You don't feel satisfied, yeah? So have a look in your life and see, I'm not satisfied here. It could be a relationship, you're not satisfied with your present relationship, or perhaps you don't have a relationship but you want to have one. So that would be an area of dissatisfaction. It could be money. You don't have enough money, or you're angry about how money is being used on the planet. Anything that creates some sort of dissatisfaction. It could be your health. Maybe there's a condition that you have that makes you dissatisfied in life. It could be a business. It could be a project. It could be your career, or it could be just life in general. It's like, oh gosh, overwhelmed, I'm totally dissatisfied here. Yeah. So choose one, basically. Identify one, and then have a look and see, well, what I do is I look for energy lines. Exactly what brings the dissatisfaction? What exactly is it? And then when I find that, you can visualize yourself not having that limit. And just pretend. Just pretend. It's a daydream. There's no harm in daydreams, right? You can pretend anything you like. And then you pretend that that limit is gone. And then you follow that and you go, well, how would that change my life? And you see the result, visuals of that pretense, if that is fully satisfying. And if it isn't, then you haven't quite actually found the item that's limiting you. Yeah? Oh. So you go back. And then until you get the image that is completely and utterly satisfied and satisfaction, then okay, that's what it is. And what I would do then is just spend a lot of time pretending that that's real. And also, any but or ifs or fears that come up, make a note of them. Yeah, actually literally write them down. And then do a fear processing exercise on those.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's worth it, I think, to remove our limitations, right?
Right, yeah, because I can notice that sometimes when I feel myself getting, I guess you could say, excited or rising in vibration about something, and then somewhere there I can feel like very suddenly like a little fear or something, like, oh, wait, but, and so just, you said write it down and then go through the same process with that fear and feeling what it would be like without that limitation.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. That would be, that's a pretty powerful exercise, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So about manifestation, something else that you wrote about was impeccable intention and our capacity to manifest. I'd really like to dive into this a little bit because this is something that I also, again, I'm constantly looking at myself and just, looking at ways to expand and just grow and be more fully my truest self. And when I think about intention, there is something about it being like a pure intention. And sometimes I use that interchangeably with like the word desire, but not desire as in desire as in the lack of it, but desire is just this like
the inspiration,
love.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. Inspiration or love for something. Like, yes, I'd love that. And, but then it's like, I could feel myself sometimes like, I don't want to then get attached, I guess.
That's a fear. There's your fear. You've just identified it. Fear of attachment.
Right. But then, right. But I'm like wondering, how do we intend, but then because sometimes that intention can come with maybe, let's say, you want to co-create and you want to create more or whatever, or you really love and you feel this desire to work on a project with somebody. And then you feel this potential with this person might rise up and you're like, yes, that feels good, But I guess it's not wanting to attach it to that because it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be with that person. It could be with this person, or it could be this person. Do you know what I mean? How do we maintain that pure intention, but not needing it to be this way or that way?
Right. Well, there's two things. Sometimes your higher self is telling you that's the right person, and that's why you feel so enthusiastic about them, right? And you allow that to exist, but you don't put barriers on other people coming in. So you leave the doors open for others to come in, or other possibilities, or even other projects with that person, not just one project. Right. So you leave the doors open. But with regards to the attachment, you don't want to get attached. I would do the process attachment. You're welcome here, and really allow that feeling of attachment. You immerse yourself into that energy of being attached, to that particular outcome or situation or person or whatever. You allow yourself to feel fully attached without any apology, because you're not doing it to get rid of it. You're actually doing it to allow it to express fully. And then you ask it, you are welcome here, you're allowed to be here, just tell me if you want to, you can express to me with images, words, vibrations, allow it to be there, and you're welcome here, and then you just infuse it with like love, and it goes, gone, it's like, it's really, really good.
Yeah, see, that's something that I haven't really done enough of, although I think I can feel myself like acknowledging fears and things like that, but to actually like do that, to actually just let it be and just love it. Yeah.
And don't say, I'm going to allow you to exist for a moment because I want to get rid of you. No, that's the wrong energy, right? You literally allow it to exist. You literally allow it to exist.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Because, that's wow. That's what I've been doing, I think. Like, I'll feel this so that I can release it and let it go.
Exactly, and that takes forever. That's why I took so long with the spiders.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So then manifesting from there with that pure intention, or you said impeccable intention. What does that mean?
Impeccable intention doesn't mean right or wrong, right? But that you're fully conscious of what you want, or you're manifesting, and also that you have processed any programs around it. Yeah. So, for example, somebody wants to manifest, I don't know, something what's considered bad on the planet. Let's think. Somebody wants to manifest.
Well, sometimes a lot of money can be like, like if you're too much money, like a lot of money, but something that could be seen as bad, right? Like, you're greedy.
But those are actually like false type things, right? Something that's actually destructive. For example, somebody wants to manifest becoming an oil lord or whatever those called. Okay. For example, we all know literally that they're actually causing a lot of harm to the planet, to our environment and everything, right? But they want to manifest it.
Yeah.
So it's not about judging what your manifestation, what you want. That's not about impeccability. It's actually this person, if he's absolutely or she's absolutely impeccable about becoming this oil baron, they will have no charge around it. Yeah. So they will have no judgment on whether, or even if they do have judgment, they know that they have that judgment, that it's a wrong thing to do. They won't need to convince themselves that it's right. That's impeccability. You see? They know it's wrong, and they want it anyway.
Okay.
And they allow that wrongness to exist, and they're going in knowing fully consciously that it's wrong. Right. They're not going in saying, well, if I become an oil baron, then I can change the industry, or I'm going in because I know this is the way forward for society. I'm going to be providing loads of energy for the planet, for human beings to develop their countries, and the third world country. I'm going to be giving money to their governments. It's none of that. That's all. That's not impeccable. That's just putting little floss, or what's it called, candy floss on top of it, I don't know, it's just trying to make it nicer in their own energy. It's not impeccable. But if this person goes in and saying, I want to destroy this part of the planet, and I want to exploit the locals, and I want to, and I know it's going to pollute it, but I don't really care, that's impeccable. Because he knows it, or she knows it completely and utterly, and does it consciously.
Okay.
So on the other side of the spectrum, a person can come in saying, I want to set up a 5D healing center, yeah? And so they go in, but if they're still embodying or thinking, I want to save people or whatever, why is it that you want to set up a 5D healing center? Is it even necessary? You know, if they look at the impeccability of it, it has to be acknowledging that they still are running a savior program, for example, acknowledging that that they can actually remove the savior program and still do the 5D healing center, yeah? Because they process their savior energy and they want it to be a place where not just themselves are empowered, but others are empowered and are allowed or are given opportunities to become complete and whole. So yeah, so you can go see the intention is impeccable because it's been looked at every level, yeah? Every charge has been removed from it, and every lie that we tell ourselves has been removed from it. So that's what impeccability means. It's actually pure and fully conscious, coming from a place of consciousness and without judgment. Yeah? Others will judge us, definitely. People project judgment on us all the time, but we are impeccable in our own manifestation. Yeah.
So when you notice, because I can feel sometimes when there's like an inspiration that just comes, and it's just like this, it feels pure because it usually comes from that place that's not from the mind. Just like oh, I would love that. So you're saying to look at if there's any judgment and any charge around it, though?
Yeah, definitely. Because after the first moments of inspiration, you then go ahead and implement it on the 3D, right? On the physical universe. Yeah. So that bridge is where programs can come in. Okay. Yeah. So you have the moment of inspiration. Oh my gosh, I totally want to create this new project. Yeah. And then, oh, but there's nobody there. There's no funds. And I don't know if I can do it on my own. I need somebody else. I want that person, but and all these things, yeah, start coming in. If they get stuck with emotion and charge, that's not impeccable because that's kind of stops you. So that's when you start looking at all those ifs and or I can'ts, or perhaps, or maybe I'm wrong. You start looking at all those energy lines and you clear them all, yeah. And then the end result is that actually you're manifesting it in the physical, yeah, in a very fast way. We can still get there. We've been with some programs attached, but it takes a long time, and it can create a lot of problems, yeah.
Okay.
It can create a lot of problems, and sometimes we get distracted as well. I had a really funny situation years ago when I moved back to England, and I wanted to live in a very specific type of house. And I wrote the house details, like, my goodness, down to the letter. I mean, how many bedrooms, a tree up front, a nice yard. I wanted a view of, looking uphill, downhill, and all these type of things, yeah? And then I put it and I said, yeah, and I knew it. I knew that was it. It was completely clear in my mind. And I totally got it. But I forgot, yeah, to include, it had to be in a really good neighborhood. So I ended up with this fabulous house in the worst neighborhood in the city, because of course I didn't know the neighborhoods I had just arrived.
Right.
Oh my gosh, it was like, it's like, so that's why the sense of satisfaction has to come in when you're manifesting things. When you feel that full satisfaction, you have seen all the others, or maybe you just bypass them, and you get to the end, yeah? And maybe if I hadn't been so attached to the minute details, I would have manifested a home that would have brought me much more satisfaction, yeah? But I was so stuck, and that would have been it wasn't impeccable, because I hadn't really fully gone through the line and seen, well, why do I want this? And where are my limitations, yeah? And I was still acting from a place of manifesting bad situations, unconsciously.
Right.
So it was unconscious.
So, it's not important necessarily that we have like all these details, right? I mean, sometimes maybe that inspiration will come with more details, but it's more just about that, like the essence of it.
Right. The lists and details are still useful because they allow us to travel into that area of full satisfaction. Yeah, absolute satisfaction. But once we're in that space of full satisfaction in our exercises of manifestation, we can drop the list, and just stay with that full satisfaction.
Right.
And maybe, if there's items there that we don't want to release, at least we're impeccable about it. I want to be fully satisfied, but my house really has to have a swimming pool. It's like you haven't released the swimming pool, but at least the satisfaction's there.
Okay.
And so the two can be combined.
Right, right. And so as you see the different limitations and things, or the charges around them, again, just feel them fully, see what's really going on.
If they exist while you're doing the exercise, it's better that they exist now. Then you manifest them into the physical universe so that they can be felt. Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah. This whole manifesting thing in general is just, I think we're, like you said, I think we're stepping into it more and more as powerful co-creators, and just seeing, I think for myself, almost like the fear, and I'm sure that many people have this too, is like, maybe not believing that you deserve it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And then what about, because is there something to be said for sometimes they don't come necessarily right away, so then it's like that just trust and being in that place of just, okay, it's there, like it's there and it's coming. I don't, there's a disconnect there. Like, how do we sit with it knowing that it's there, like we've created it, but yet we don't see it in the physical yet?
Right. Yeah, that's a really good one, because there's a little energy right there which is need. Yeah. So basically, when you allow yourself to exist in that projection of your satisfied future, the longer you spend in that energy, the faster the physical will start rearranging itself. And you have to be really, really also flexible about how it comes around. Yeah. And if something's really obvious, you really have to step into that and do a drastic change. Yeah. And it's like there's a lot of fear sometimes that stop us from moving forth, and then the when you come out of your meditation or whatever, or your visualization, and you look around and saying, well, I don't see it happening, that happens to me sometimes. I just look around thinking, oh my gosh, they're still creating wars and the false war on terror, They're still doing all that stuff, even though I'm already living in a planet that is actually free of all that.
Right.
Is to allow the linear time to disentangle, and knowing once you reach a place of knowing that it's real, and not just waiting for it to happen, that's when that really shifts. When I was saying, like sometimes it's really hard to move into that space. Is that several times when I was talking about relationships, people will say, I'm married and I'm in a very bad relationship, and this person is really stopping me from moving forward in my life, but I can't leave them because I've got kids, and because I depend on them, or because we have a house together, or we have a farm together, or a business together. Stories, hello.
Right.
Your life has been telling you to make a break from this person for probably years, but the moving away is just stories that we tell ourselves. We just don't trust in our knowing. Yeah? And sometimes it's hard because we've spent years creating this alternative, dissatisfactory reality. We've got a lot of hours invested in that reality. Yeah. So stepping away from it, sometimes it's hard. That's our baby,
Right.
We've created it. So sometimes it's really difficult to step away.
Yeah.
And stop telling telling ourselves stories that why not, you know. It takes a lot of courage, but there's always a way. There's always a way.
Yes. And just getting clear about that impeccable intention.
Exactly.
Is sort of the first step, really. Is
right.
Well, yeah. And what do you say to people who sometimes feel like, gosh, well, I don't even know what I want? I mean, I think we always do, or like we can kind of see at least through contrast, right? Even if you feel like, okay, you know, there's a world of possibilities. What do I really want? I think and that like could be overwhelming. I think sometimes,
right?
You know, but maybe through like contrast. Okay, well, right now I'm having this experience, lack of money or whatever, or I'm doing a job that I don't like. Through that contrast, you could go, okay, I don't want this, so I want. What are some, I don't know, tips or things that you could share about like knowing what you want, knowing what it is?
Well, that's a really good one. The contrast thing, you know, just visualize yourself in different situations and see which ones don't resonate and whatever, and which ones really resonate. Yeah, and that's a really good one.
Yeah.
The other one that I would say is to process. I don't know what I want. So allow yourself not to know what you want. Fully, completely, and utterly allow yourself to be in that space. You know, I don't know what you want. I don't know what I want. You're welcome here. You know, it's like, and you're allowed to exist. I am allowed to exist in a space where I don't know what I want. And just allow yourself to express it and allow it to feel it fully, so without any resistances, without any judgments, you know, and then for as long as it takes, yeah. And then, you know, you don't have to do anything. All you need to do is just exist. Really, honestly, quite honestly, that's all you need to allow yourself. Everything else is entertainment. Yeah, and even the meaning that we give our lives, you know, is just, sometimes it's a role that we can step into if we want to. But if we really step into it, often it's because it's better than not stepping into it. Yeah. And if you feel in any way that you have to do out of duty, and that really honestly you'd rather not, then that's part of the impeccability. Yeah. Don't step into stuff just out of duty, or because you think it's the right thing.
Right.
Do it because you want to.
Right. So yeah, that's a big thing too, because you said it's like, I think almost I feel as though it's an opportunity for us to really feel our worth and our value and love for ourselves just by being, without needing, you know, and see, that's the thing. It's like we all want to live a life of purpose, though. We all want to, you know, to feel like we've made a difference in this world, or that we matter, or that we've sort of fulfilled what we came here to fulfill. So how do we balance that, like not doing that though out of that need, but doing that just because it's like an I want to, or an I would love to do this?
Well, think about this. Maybe the purpose of your life is to have no purpose in this life. What about that, you know? Maybe you had 100 lifetimes where you were very purposefully doing your missions, and maybe this lifetime you have to learn not to have a purpose. You know, it's like, it might be, you know? It might very well be. Right. But yeah, sometimes I know what you're coming from. It's like a lot of individuals, we will put on or do stuff that gives us value, or that will make others love us or accept us, or because that's the only way that we feel worthy. Yeah. And that's really huge on the planet. I mean, I've heard so many people especially women, who retire and then a few days later they're dead, you know? Right. They die in their sleep, they have a heart attack or a stroke or something, or crash their car, but they're like gone, and that's a huge program there that said their entire value was the job they were doing.
Right. Right.
Either the job or the providing for their family or whatever, you know, that was the entire entire life built around it. Yeah. So once that was gone, there was no purpose for them to stay around, and poof, they're gone.
So switching gears a little bit, I'd love to talk about energy, because this is something that you talk about quite a bit. Free energy. I don't have, like, I don't know that this requires a scientific mind. I don't really feel that I have a scientific mind, you know, but it's like something that I can just sort of feel, you know, that is true. But it's like I don't really process it, I guess, or understand it, you know, on this level. But, you know, and kind of tying it into a little bit with like Tesla and stuff. I haven't studied him very much at all, but I am Serbian, and he is originally from Serbia as well, and just like feeling like these like connections about all this, right? And it's like, and then I don't know if you saw on my site, it's really kind of funny. I did this like photo shoot with a friend in Belgrade in Serbia, and he picked the location. It's in this like little a cobblestone street with a lot of graffiti around it, and we were taking pictures and, you know, around the different graffiti, and one of the photos, one of the beautiful like pieces of graffiti or whatever, it was a picture of Tesla, and I didn't even realize it. I was standing there, and I think my photographer, my friend who was with me, was like, "You know who that is, right?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, you know, they're like, "That's Tesla," and I was like, "Oh my God!" So there's like something here about this energy in Tesla, and I don't know. I would just love for you to elaborate a little bit on what you see sort of happening, what's going on with this.
Yeah, I think it's the baby steps of collective consciousness becoming aware that this is actually real. Mm-hmm. If you talked about free energy, or the people who were talking about it 2 years ago, were very few, were laughed at, yeah, by most of society, definitely by their peers, if they were scientists, and the ones that went ahead and started developing it, I think most of them were killed, right? They'd been murdered, yeah? So... not a good thing. But the intention of it becoming conscious did not go away. In fact, it became stronger. People found out what's going on. And I think Tesla is really important because he is the proof that this work and this technology is already patented and has been used. And the point in time when it was disabled, yeah, when he was disempowered, and the power over others energy thing came into force, became really, you know, it's really up in the air, really up in our consciousness right now, yeah? So I think that's why his images and his work and everything, and his name is coming up more and more all around us, because it's our way as a collective to realize that it's true. Yeah. It's real, yeah? And science has moved from, this is how energy used to work, yeah. It's like you have the electricity here, and you have the transformation happening here through this is kinetic energy movement, and this is some sort of combustible energy that's coming here to make this move, to make electricity, yeah. So there's 3 steps of energy. And the way that it was designed was that you put a lot of combustible energy, much more than any electricity coming out here. So tons of energy is coming here to make this move, kinetic energy, to make it into a current of energy coming out here. So that's how the transformation happened, yeah? And that was all physics saying that the energy exists, like, but to transform it, you have to put a lot of energy into it so that it comes out in a different form. Now, quantum physics says that the energy is there all the time and it's escaping all the time because the probability of it is so high. Probability means it's going to happen, basically. Yeah. So there's energy coming out all the time, and that you actually don't need any energy coming in for it to come out the other way. That's the ultimate form of free energy. No energy coming in, energy coming out. And all you need is like the machine that decides what type of energy comes out, which at the moment the only technology we have is electric, yeah? Okay. So electricity comes out, or the one that we had to think of because of Tesla. because nobody else has released any information about other types of energy that can come out yet for us.
Right.
So that's the only one that we can even think about right now. So at the moment, and he did have some energy here, some movement, and he created that without. There was still some coming in, so the combustible energy coming in, or some sort of movement through the movement of water or some other, or even a person moving it. So to start it going, to kick it off. So then the magnets continue moving it forever type thing. And that movement then creates, morphs that kinetic energy into the current of electricity, yeah? So that's really a tiny little basic explanation of how it's happening. We haven't reached the place where all we need is the choosing, the machine that chooses what type of energy comes out. And it doesn't need any type of input of energy and no movement. But that also exists, right? If that's also possible. But we're a couple of years away from even conceptualizing it or even thinking that it's possible as a collective. So it's baby steps. So Tesla is really important right now because he patented machinery that could do that. That could, with very little input of energy, the movement come out with electricity, and you don't need cables all over the planet. You know, you don't need to have a meter so that we can be charged for it. Yeah, we don't need any of those things. We can have it today. So that's why he's so important right now. And spreading out his name and his patents, his energy and his knowing is really important. It's the first step to realizing as a collective that free energy is actually not just real, but it's a possibility that has been with us forever.
Yeah, when I came back, because I've been in Belgrade for the last couple of years, that's where I was living, and then I came back, and at our local, like a nearby mall, here where my mom is living, there's a Tesla car showroom, you know, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, and then you see more and more Tesla cars on the street, and, you know, it's incredible how it's like, yeah, like you said, it's like we're just really starting to see him, this man who died poor, right, and
castigated, right?
Unknown, right? What did you say?
Castigated.
Yeah, and then now it's like he's like famous. Now everybody's knows about him, and his name is just yeah. Wow. And then how does that tie into chi? Because you talk about chi a lot too, and I'm like, okay, I know of chi is just like the life force energy, right?
Yeah.
How do you?
I think that the link between the two is that everything's made out of chi. Yeah, and the limitations we have of how we express it, how we embody it, and how we manifest things is all what dictates. It's those limitations that dictate our reality. Yeah, I think that my friend Lance White sent me an email the other day, and he has a radio show as well, that talked about how we as humans are the only creators, or not only, but we are a creator species, that we can really bring things out of our imaginations or even from somewhere else and make them happen in the real world. Yeah. And that ties in directly with that. I posted a little picture of a baby saying this is the ultimate free energy technology. Yeah? Because we as humans, and this is part of possibly an explanation behind the enslavement of the human race, the limitations placed on us as humans, and we have placed ourselves as humans, and all that type of thing, that we are one of these species that can create anything, anything at all. So if the majority of the human population today on the planet is in a state of fear, we're going to create all sorts of fearful situations, and we're going to agree to fearful situations. Yeah. So wars go ahead and everything goes ahead. I have seen it reflected in the weather. If a group of people look at the weather, often it will reflect the city. And also, there was an experiment that these individuals did. I can't remember the transcendental meditation groups. A couple of decades or maybe more ago, they did this experiment where they would have a group of individuals traveling or being in one city, and they would do this meditation for so many consecutive days, I think. And then they would look at the crime statistics. And for those days, the crime statistics for the city had gone down. Yeah. So it's amazing. The power of intent, conscious, is more powerful than unconscious. And because the human race is ultimately, the building block of the human race is joy, light, love. Yeah. If anything is focused through that energy, it resonates much more powerfully than the imposition of fear, which is not our energy.
Right.
Or that darkness is not our energy. We don't flourish in a very violent or aggressive environment. We break as human beings. We break. So, yeah, that's why so trillions of dollars are being spent on making us fearful, right? And the people who are like us working on making ourselves higher vibration, it actually takes not much effort at all.
Right.
on the investment is tiny. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Is there, okay. Oh, there's just so much, so much to take in here. It's like, wow, I appreciate your wisdom and your sharing so much. But is there anything that you would like to leave us with? Some last words of, you know, wisdom for how to, what somebody maybe could start doing right now to raise their vibration?
I'd say process your fears, first of all. Yeah. And then don't just believe, but know that you are an unlimited divine being and creator. Know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing.
That's a bit.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yes. From believing to knowing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Inelia. Where can people find out more? Your website and Facebook page. What is your website?
Yeah. The website is ascension101.com.
Okay.
And there's a tools tab on there. You click on tab and the tools. You scroll down, you'll find the full text for the fear processing exercises right there.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, so you use it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and you've got lots of different amazing, and not just articles, but other resources and tools and everything on your website, which is great. Yeah.
Loads and loads and loads. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Well, we'll include all that information. Thank you so much for taking time to chat with me. It's been a beautiful conversation, enlightening,
thank you.
uplifting.
Thank you.